The next topic, a hot one, a very hot one, and I want to actually, Stutzman, if you can take it on, because I think you have a little bit more input and thought process here going on, especially with the Gammon side, is the high-speed rail.
Climate change? Oh, high-speed rail.
Do you believe in climate change? Let's start with that.
gosh.
No, high-speed rail. Well, you have to. You worked for Arnold at one point. I would assume so.
What, high-speed rail?
No, on climate change.
On climate? Oh, sure, climate change is real.
Well, there's a Republican who just admitted
Quote
it.
it.
Well done.
Stamp it.
Brandon, let's talk about high-speed rail. What is
I don't think
going
any
on in
less
that
of you. I
space?
think more of you.
And here's the funny part. Fong and I were just talking about it before we before you guys showed up, and we were talking about the fact that Merced and what was it?
Merced to Bakersfield.
To Bakersfield will have high-speed rail,
Hot
right?
corridor.
We're continuing. Who takes? No offense. High-speed rail. Don't you know what I'm talking
I
about?
do.
San Francisco, LA makes
Well-
more sense to me. But
Not,
again,
not if you've ever stayed in Bakersfield, because you're thinking,
High
I would
speed
actually
out of
move to
there.
Merced
Fast train
as
out of
quickly
here.
as possible. Whereas LA, San Francisco, it's kind of a wash.
yeah.
Apologies to the delegation from Kern County. So the idea, infrastructure is
There we
already
go.
being laid
Yeah.
in the valley for that connection to take place. The idea to defend it is if you get to Merced, you can then take additional rail into the Bay Area. So it allows people down valley to commute, frankly, into the Bay Area. That's the way the state works now with cost of housing, etc. But it was never going to be implemented as ambitiously as Brown kept pushing it,
Right.
right? So Newsom, in his State of the State back in January, seemed to very adroitly pull the thing back. He even said, let's get real, to these kind of correct expectations that we're going to scale it back. And then flip-flopped. I don't know how else to call it. I'm not even trying to be pejorative. It was really
What
strange.
happened? What
Well, I think a
happened?
couple of things happened. One, he heard from constituencies that are very important to him who were surprised, from what I'm told, which would be trade unions, all right, had this big project scaled back and they didn't have the heads up. I think the other thing they figured out was they made a mistake. That if they scale it down officially, Trump really can pull back federal matching money because they didn't use it for what they had applied for. So I think all of a sudden there's this big policy mess. They try to walk it back, and then he blames the press for misquoting him in his State of the State. And that is starting to have real consequences too. If you talk to reporters the way I do, they are fit to be tied that they're getting blamed for what he actually said.
Yeah.
And I think it could affect his coverage.
Well,
That was a Trump maneuver.
It was very
I didn't
Trumpian.
say that.
It was very Trumpian.
So
Build the wall. I
Fake
never said that.
news. Fake news. I didn't say
Exactly.
scale it back.
I didn't say
And
wall.
that's actually an interesting point. His relationship with the media and all of this, and also the fact that he scaled back. Now, but the high-speed rail piece. So, do Californians want to see high-speed rail? How much was the cost? We said billions of dollars, right? We were talking about that earlier.
Well, the LA to San Francisco was supposed to be about 77.3 billion.
Right.
Probably come in higher, if I had to guess.
And it passed overwhelmingly initially. People were really excited about it, really here for it. I don't know that given the choice again, with that same budget expectation, the vote would have turned out
Well,
the
we're
same.
30 billion over what the voters
Right.
approved,
Right.
and that's before we go a few more years and it gets.
I mean, why can't I just holler at Southwest, right? Like,
Southwest.
I don't need
Sacramento,
the whole.
straight, no drama.
It seems like a
won't take
lot.
whole day, yeah.
I support the Hyperloop. The Elon
No,
Musk
seriously.
Hyperloop.
So, but this is a great point, right?
Yeah.
It's like Jerry Brown, who was the futurist when he was governor in the 70s, like an
Moonbeam.
astronaut in the office.
Yeah.
Really then hangs on to this old 20th century technology the second time around when he's an older man, which is fixed rail. The future of transportation is probably not fixed rail systems. It's going to be things like Hyperloop, at least for cargo. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right.
When it comes time for humans,
Sounds a
I
little
say
scary.
you go first.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm right behind you.
We now have cars that self-drive.
And that's just it.
As
So
an example,
it's going to
yeah.
be, everyone's going to have, we're going to be subsidizing pods for people to go
Right.
get in and move around in the decades to come, not put them on rail systems.
And it seems like in California, as progressive as we are, and with population growing immensely, traffic, congestion, with everything going on here, people having to commute for work, etc., cost of living, all of these are major factors when it comes to, obviously, any type of transportation when we think about transportation and what we're going to invest in for the future. And if we know that it's going to take years for various reasons and a lot of money, and most of the time we're budgeting a little too low. I mean, 30, what did we say, 30 million or 30
Billion.
Billion.
30
Over.
billion over. Those are real numbers we're talking about
That's
here.
that's
Not if we take it from the tunnel project, then we have plenty of money.
But if we're going there, why don't we have the partnership of the private sectors like the Elon Musk's, for example, and come to the table and create something that is futuristic, that a 700 and whatever $billion project does make sense, that we're going to actually be advanced here in California. Why are we not doing that? Why are we thinking backwards, not forwards?
We're just
and all
not that
this?
good here in California on transportation. I don't know why.
Why?
Well, we don't do public.
Why?
We don't do
It's weird.
public-private partnerships.
Why?
Well, some of that is to go back to the aforementioned unions as part of it. But even Vila Ragosa tried to go public-private at the end of his term as mayor of LA in order to finish the
Right.
subway. And
Somebody to see.
yep. So I mean, we have a little bit of it in California on some roads that have been privately built, and of course, then people pay to go on those roads. So there's public-private concepts that would probably work for. a
So
lot of
why
this.
are we not looking at those closely? I mean, again, Governor
Why-
Gavin Newsom, he likes to obviously do as he wishes.
I
exactly
can
what
tell
we're
you
talking
that
about.
Mayor Steinberg and I just got back from China, and we
Yes.
saw some
Oh, I
amazing,
bet.
amazing public transportation solutions that are all electric, and they have monorails of different sizes. I mean, there's
They have less bureaucracy there.
So does that? Oh, here we go. So does that mean, by hearing that you and the mayor of Sacramento were in China looking at these projects, does that mean there's hope for us here in regards to?
Well, I can tell you that there's high interest on the city's part in like partnering with a lot of these companies and universities, with Davis and SMUD and everyone, and really kind of, bringing the best that there is out there here.
So we
Well-
are an emerging market here in Sacramento. That's what a lot of people are referring to us as. There's so much happening in our backyard,
A lot going
especially
on.
downtown.
Totally.
I was emceeing the Economic Council of Greater Sacramento just a few days ago, and the energy around this and the support, even the politicians who were there, we're extremely excited about the future of Sacramento and what we're creating here.
I
So if
want to
that's
see
the
you
case,
on a
why are
scooter,
we-
because then I know that things have changed.
I rode a scooter
Well, that's-
Saturday.
I rode a
I'm
scooter here
so down.
today.
There you go.
But to piggyback on what
You
you
were
were
still
saying,
stuck in traffic.
well, it was a nightmare.
There's
But
no
to
traffic
piggyback
in a
on what-
scooter.
But to piggyback on what you were talking about is that people my age and even younger, I'm trying to live a carless life.
Right.
As quickly as I can get there, the better. And so, to some extent, rail transit is still effective in that mentality, right? If I can get to the Bay Area and not have to get behind a car, I'm totally happy with that.
Literally.
Or Merced or Bakersfield. But I will go out of my way. Gig cars, ride-sharing
Yes.
programs like Uber and Lyft, bikes, jump bikes, all of that sort of stuff.
You live like a Bay Area person.
I
by
do,
saying
well, and I
They
think
have
that that's
more
the
You can
trend.
get to San
than-
Francisco on rail, and it's beautiful.
Right, exactly.
Okay, True
Exactly.
here
Love
has
my
actually taken the train to San Francisco.
I love
Of
it.
course.
I take it to Berkeley.
Okay, love it. But I've been in situations where it's taken so long to get there, and the cost of it's gotten expensive, like to go there. Now, the convenience of it is fabulous, but I'm looking at it and saying, when I go to New York or other cities, big cities, everything is much faster. Everything is much more efficient.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I
can't-
know a lot of friends that tweet between DC and New York on the Acela, and they're pretty ticked
a nightmare.
off about
It's an hour and a half.
Trains
you have to
and
live your
delayed
life
and-
on a rail.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me put it in a little bit perspective. I pay a monthly pass for Capitol Corridor, which takes me from I Street here in Sacramento to San Francisco. It's $550 a month round trip, all month. I can use it every day if I wanted to. That's way cheaper than parking,
Right.
than insurance, than a car payment,
Safer.
than tickets. It's safer. I can drink on the train,
You can
which
work
I'm gonna
on the
do.
train.
I can work on the train.
Yeah.
So it makes total economic sense. It's better for the environment.
Yeah.
And it's efficient. Now,
Yeah.
is it always as time sensitive as I need it to be? No, but neither is necessarily sitting in Bay
traffic
Area
these
traffic.
days,
On a smaller
absolutely.
level, I heard a rumor they're going to put a driverless rail through Stockton Boulevard.
Oh,
Well, that'll be.
Wouldn't that
Sac
be amazing?
State. So Sac State's using driverless shuttle.
Yep.
From the transportation center over off 65th, that takes kids over to the campus. So I mean, all
It's
this
very
stuff is
exciting.
starting to happen.
It is.
so we want to see this. We're going back to high-speed rail. We know where it is. It's kind of half dead, half alive. Is that what we're hearing again? It's like dead or alive.
No, but but honestly, the other thing, Katrina, is one of the things that the delegation was pitching in China was the California Mobility Center, which we're trying to get off the ground here in Sacramento, which is going to be sort of studying, kind of doing the research around how we move people and how we do so in a more efficient, sustainable way, kind of like what's the future look like. So, Sacramento's becoming a real place to kind of create solutions
Test
around
pod.
all this stuff.
So what did our mayor think of the?
Oh, well, we need to do a
discussions?
China show with the mayor, but
Yeah.
it was fabulous. I mean, he was a big star in China. We were incredibly well received, and I don't want to get in front of him, but we'll be announcing some really cool deals that came out of the trip.
Well, you heard it right here that there's going to be some interesting information coming out from hopefully the mayor's office very soon. Rob, you're going to be the first one to report all this for us, right? It's not gonna fire. We actually have
Absolutely.
some great pictures we're going to be posting about the China trip too, so excited for that.